Over my shoulder here is the brand new xTool O1 Omni UV printer. This is literally 2 days old in my shop. I spent the last 2 days printing up a storm as much as I can, trying to learn as much as I can in order to bring this content to you guys as close to real time as possible. So in today's video, I'm gonna bring you along and show you everything I've done just in the first 48 hours. The good, the bad, the ugly, all the details and specs are about to come at you here in a few seconds. Hey guys, my name is Sam and welcome back to Samcraft. That is right, the xTool O1 Omni dual UV version of the machine is here in my shop. As mentioned by the title, dual UV means this has the two print heads in it. The first one is what all machines have. It allows you to print in CMYK gloss and black, all your standard UV printing stuff you think of or have heard of as far as printing on any hard surface. All machines have that capability. What makes this machine in my shop a little bit different, it is the dual head version. And on that second head, I get things such as fluorescent ink printing and flexible ink printing. I test both of those a little bit in this video, but I really rely more on the flexible ink and show you the details because between the two, that's the one that I was most interested in seeing real life outcomes with. There are 3 different versions of this machine, and if you want to learn more about them, I'll put a link to my website down below where I have several blog articles that I've written on this machine and its variations and flavors to help guide you and steer you through the process. And of course, there will be links to xTool's official website and shop down below as well if you want to check out current pricing, current sales, current offerings, and pick one up yourself if you decide that one of these machines is a good fit for you. With the machine set up, the first thing I wanted to do was test out the claims of the perfect precision alignment and see how good or bad the alignment of my designs on an actual object are when printing. For this, I used a metal coin that came with a little material pack that I got from xTool, and I made sure to center a circular design right there in the middle, and using the software, which was xTool Studio, line it up on screen in the perfect spot, and then print it. This was the big test. How close to reality is the actual print head with my graphics? And in this case, as you're seeing, it was dead on. Now the first print took place about in the middle of the small print bed. So what I wanted to do to really see if we had any kind of lens distortion or alignment issues was to move the coin to the lower right-hand corner and repeat the job. So I flipped the coin over, stuck it down there, redid my alignment, printed it again, and it was just as dead on. That is absolutely amazing. And with my experiences with UV printers, this one was a surprise. I was expecting there to be some level of disconnect on alignment, but my machine has absolutely zero issues with that. No doubt that is due in part to how the xTool Omni actually captures its image. It does not use a stationary camera above. And when you open this lid, you'll see there's nothing up there. Instead, what it is doing is actually, think of it more like a flatbed scanner on the bottom of your print head that goes across and it actually scans the bed, creating an image from it. This is perfect. This is the most ideal thing you can get because you pretty much have what is like a flatbed scanner going across your entire mat to then translate into software and show you what you've got, which is awesome, right? Print alignment is the number one thing we all want, we expect, we hope and dream for. And in my experiences, the Omni actually gets it straight out of the box, which was an absolute joy to discover. With that coin knocked out of the park, the next thing I threw into the Omni was a little award medallion. This again was something that came in this material pack from xTool. I chose this for a couple of reasons. Number one, it was another object for me to very easily test that alignment with a circular object or print job inside of a definitive space. But I also chose it because the actual area where it gets printed is a little bit lower than the raised edges and borders of the medallion, but that was even lower than the attached ribbon necklace that could not be removed. So this to me was a wonderful test of how well the Omni was able to scan it to identify the height of probably hitting that ribbon first, to compensate, but then also really see how well or bad it would print with that varied Z offset of the highest point being the ribbon, but the actual print surface being the lowest point of the medallion. As you're seeing here, it came out perfectly. I was completely shocked on this. I'm being honest. I'm not just trying to fluff stuff up over here. I really did not expect this one to work. I was waiting for the ribbon to get caught by the print head. I was waiting for it to be out of focus, perhaps give me an error in the software. And then of course, I was expecting a very fuzzy print job outcome since it was higher than where it probably would have really wanted to be since it was printing on a recessed area. But again, no issues. That's so cool. That is a shock to me. Now, given I may just be a sheltered person here when it comes to UV printing, but that was an unexpected, really cool outcome from the Omni. Moving on down the line, I pulled out a standard ubiquitous 4-inch slate drink coaster because who in the world of Makerland does not have a 4-inch drink coaster? Right? Well, one of the great things about the Omni is even with the smaller print bed, you have no problem fitting an entire 4-inch drink coaster on it with a complete print job, overspraying the edges and going beyond if you want. That is a wonderful feature that other manufacturers missed, but xTool used their experience in the laser world. They have had to have known we wanted 4-inch coasters, right? And so they made sure to make the small bed larger than 4 inches front to back. This allowed me to put the slate coaster wherever I wanted to on the print bed. I then scanned it with the xTool Studio software, used their smart masking feature to see how well it would actually mask the circle of the round coaster, how close it would get it and all of that, so that I could just plop a giant graphic on there and let the software crop it, mask it, and then print it on the coaster. If you look closely at the profile or edges of the coaster, you will see a little bit of that evidence of overspray. This is because the smart mask was not 100% dead on, but for software to get this close, especially with an organic, non-uniform shape as a slate coaster, that's not bad. For sure, if I wanted to be super picky and if I were doing these for a production, what I would do is take the time to take some blue painter's tape and mask the profile or outside edge of the coaster, being sure to stay down below the top of the coaster so I don't mess up any kind of focusing. And then once it gets printed, peel off the masking tape to give me a nice crisp edge. I would use that same technique for things such as canvas artboards, license plate tags that you're also going to see me print here in a little bit, and anything else that I want to print on to take advantage of that smart masking feature, yet not have any overspray around the edges. Speaking of license plate tag, that was the next thing that I decided to test out. I swapped out the small bed for the larger one, which was very easy to do. It has magnets to help you align it, and then 2 little latches on the side to click in there. Piece of cake, super easy to do. I put down a Samcraft fat mat on there to catch any overspray because I intentionally did a design where I did not use smart masking for this license plate tag, and I just sprayed a giant graphic on there. What I wanted to test is the quality of the overspray to see how far it goes down beyond the top of the surface. I believe this tag is somewhere around 6 millimeters high. It is 3D printed, by the way. And I wanted to see how much overspray there was and how difficult it would be to clean up, and just kind of go for a wing it, just blast it type mentality or workflow with this. For this print job, I only chose 1 layer of color because it was already white to begin with. There was no point in me laying down that 1 coat of white underbase, and it came out perfectly well. This is a more vintage kind of style color, so it is more yellow on purpose by design. That is not an issue with print quality at all if you are seeing that, but as you can tell here, it came out great. Now, as far as cleaning up the overspray off of the fat mat, it was a piece of cake using a lint roller. Just roll it a couple of times, it gets it right off of there, piece of cake. So there was no issues with excessive resin or UV resin being printed and just really hammered down onto the either fat mat or your sticky mat if you're using it, and that is really good. It shows that xTool's print technology is spot on. It is not wasteful. It is not really just dumping stuff on there, but it is still 100% accurate and really high quality just with single pass printing like I've been doing. Since I have the dual UV head model, that does give me the flexible ink, and why in the world would I not test that out? So what I did was to slap an oval hat patch into the printer, change over my print mode to flexible white ink, and do a Samcraft graphic, right? Piece of cake. So original. It's the easy stuff for me to do. The print job was super quick on this one. Pulling it right out of the printer, I immediately started bending, flexing, twisting, folding, and trying to stress and crack that print job. I didn't give it time to cure. I didn't wait. I didn't give it a chance to get it acclimated to the world. I put it straight to the torture test, and it passed with flying colors. There's absolutely zero cracking with this. It is truly flexible. It is perfectly adhered. And even a couple of hours later, I'd give it some more torture tests out of curiosity to see if maybe if it would cure more, it would get more brittle. And it did not. So flexible ink was perfect for a leatherette hat patch like what I tested here. Now, to take flexible printing to another level, I decided to print directly onto a cornhole duck canvas cloth bag. There were a couple of things I was testing with this. First and foremost, canvas is one of those things where you're like, well, is it flexible? Do I choose the dual UV printer, or is it garment? Do I go with their garment printer version? And since I had the dual UV with flex, I decided to try that out. I'm happy to say that it worked out wonderfully well. It had no problems with adhesion. It definitely flexes and has not come off under any circumstances. The other thing I wanted to test was the fact that this was a cornhole bag. It was a very irregular, organic shaped object. It didn't have a flat top, and no matter how hard I wanted to hit it with my ruler to get it patty caked down nice and flat, it was not there. So this is another good test of the Z-height printing forgiveness, I guess we could say, and how well it would do. Did I have fuzziness? Did I have poor print edges where they kind of tapered down on the edges of that bag? And I'm happy to say I had absolutely none. There's no issues with quality, clarity, adhesion. The actual thickness or the opacity of the white is phenomenal. I did only print 3 passes with this, and it's on a black canvas bag. So to me, that's pretty good. It gives it a nice, almost screen printed look. It's not solid white. It's not like a sticker there, which I think in this use case is probably pretty good. It's enough to show the graphic, but not enough to affect the use of the object. And overall, again, that flexible ink does really well and is really awesome to play around with. And it was great to see that canvas can be done with the dual UV. And overall, it was just really great to see how well this printer does with the flexible ink. Staying in the canvas lane, the next thing I did was to load up a canvas frame that I got from the Hobby Lobby store, put it in the printer, and use the smart mask feature again to scan it and give me the cutout for me to plop a Bigfoot graphic onto, right? Who doesn't love Bigfoot? And who doesn't love Samcraft? So let's have Bigfoot wearing a Samcraft shirt. Oh yeah, you know you love it. So the print quality was perfect. On this one, I did not use flex ink. I left it as rigid ink because I was thinking this is not going to flex, nobody's going to bend it, and it worked out perfect. The canvas is not a high quality one, so it does have some undulations. It is not perfectly rectangular. Those corners are not 90 degrees, but all of that was no problem for the Omni printing on the irregular canvas tops or the xTool Studio getting the smart masking on those irregular corners. This again was a situation where if I wanted crisp edges, I would do the painter's tape masking on the actual profiles of the canvas so that the actual print job stays on the face and doesn't kind of bleed over the edges. So don't focus on that too much. That's more of an operator issue than any kind of machine issue for sure. And then last up on things that I've tested just in my first 48 hours is the rotary. And hands down, if you have not seen this rotary before, take a second to look at this and really appreciate the mechanical complexity and beautiful movements of this rotary, right? It lifts it for focusing, it twists it, it rotates it, it spins 90 degrees. It is about the coolest thing since sliced bread to hit our shop and is awesome for getting precision measurements, tapering, it checks for roundness, and does a lot of really great self-checks just in the software. It doesn't rely on you measuring stuff. You don't have to get a flexible tape out. You just attach your object, your cup, your mug, your drinkware, your tumbler, your water bottle, and let it go. The first thing I did was a 30-ounce stainless steel water bottle that my son actually picked all of the designs for. So this is a personal use case. It is nothing to be resold, right? This is, logos we're messing around here with. just for personal use for him. We did like kind of like a wrap logo and printed it. Now, when I said wrap here just now, I should have connected the dots in my head and clicked on the option in xTool Studio at the very bottom for it to be a full wrap, because I believe that caused some issues. As you look at the water bottle, you'll see some white edges peeking around the undersides of the logos. I think that's because I did not tell the software that it is a full wrap, yet I designed pretty much a full wrap. I got to test this some more, so don't take that as the gospel. It's just what I think and hope caused the weird issues with that one. Well, okay, weird issues besides me also not remembering that that rotary measures from the top right where the cup references the rotary, and I should have moved my designs down for the threaded tops of the water bottle and stuff like that. So it's a bummer. I told my son that I owe him a water bottle. I'll get him another one. We'll make it right. But at least for this video, it's something cool to show you guys. This second tumbler test was a more traditional one. I used a white stainless steel or white powder coated stainless steel tumbler. And this is one that was previously printed with another UV printing machine I had. So I wanted to test two different things. Number one, I wanted to test actually using the full wrap option, the little checkbox down in the software, to see how well that did. And as you can tell from this footage, the overlap is very minimal. And given that this software is beta, I think even this machine may be a beta version, this is not bad because it should only get better from here forward. The other thing I wanted to test is how well, using only one layer of white and one layer of color, would it actually cover up that really dark black Samcraft logo that was printed before. It didn't cover it up completely, as you can clearly see, but it does illustrate a really good example of how well only one coat of white does on covering up your color of whatever you're printing on. So, very cool, right? Now, the other thing that I have to point out, because I'm completely honest and transparent with you guys, is as you look at this blue logo, there is something weird going on with the print job. It reminds me of what the parking lot at an auto parts store looks like after a little bit of rain. It's got that iridescent kind of look. I don't know what caused that. I don't know if there were contaminants on the tumbler, which is possible because it's not a new one, or if there's something else going on either in the software or the machine or the actual individual ink colors. I honestly don't know. So take it for what it's worth, right? I'm not here to try and snowball you. I'm here to show you real life examples, real life results, but also understand I'm not an expert. I've had this guy for 2 days and that's it. I normally don't do content this fast, but I know this xTool Omni is a hot topic right now. And I had the machine and I wanted to at least bring you guys the info that I had after the 2 days of use. That being said, that's going to conclude it for my 2 days of what I could print. What do you think? Did I cover things you wanted to know? Did I not? Leave me a comment down below what you want me to cover in future videos. I have this machine for a long time. I do want to show content about it. I am personally excited to use this UV printer in my shop. So if you have ideas, I am all ears. Otherwise, if you want to check out the Omni for yourself, I'll put links to xTool's site down below. Disclaimer, they are affiliate links, so if you decide to purchase, there is a little bit of a commission that I get back from xTool as a thank you to me for sending you to them. It doesn't cost you anything extra. I'm not telling you you have to do it. I'm not going to give you a song and dance, but it's there if you would like to click it and learn more info and just realize that's what's going on with that weird looking link. Otherwise, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me as always. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time in the shop. And yes, this is the new shop.